So the internet has been ablaze with the most mundane and yet hilarious questions. Does Elon Musk, the richest man on the planet, actually play video games to a high level? Or is he just an out-of-touch billionaire who can't face the reality that he isn't better than every single other person on the planet at every single thing in all walks of life? This is actually one of the most ridiculous stories, if you haven't followed closely, because it goes from Elon making silly comments and claims that nobody really believes if they've got any kind of knowledge about the topic, and then beefing with Asmongold, outing himself as a total hypocrite on his entire public persona, and then, of course, his ex-wife making some kind of kidnapped by ISIS hostage statement, to then basically just outright admitting he is actually cheating and is a massive fraud. But we will, of course, get to all of that in a little while for no reason other than it's just really fucking funny. So let's go back to what started the whole conversation, and this is Elon Musk going out of his way to repeatedly let everybody know he's one of the top 50 players on the Diablo 4 leaderboard. He did this over and over, but the most famous example is this one from the Joe Rogan podcast.
Basically, the top 20 and or even the top 100 is like totally dominated by China. It's
really?
Insane. Yeah, there's like China and a little bit of Korea and Taiwan.
So are you in the top 20 in the world or
yeah.
top 20? Wow, in Diablo.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell everybody your handle? No, don't tell them. Don't tell them. It's not worth it.
Well, they actually listed me with my actual name in the list.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's only 2 Americans in the top 20. The rest, almost everyone is from Asia. Otherwise,
this is obviously true, right? I mean, there's no way Elon Musk would lie, and it's obviously his account. That's not really in question. As in, this is the account he owns. It's in his name. Blizzard knows it to be his, and it was in the top 20 of Diablo 4. Nemo, what are you doing? What? Why are you? I'm trying to record a video. What are you doing? So obviously Elon's saying this has caused people to be highly critical because there's not a chance in hell someone who has his level of responsibility in day-to-day tasks could possibly be in the top 20 of a game like Diablo 4, which is a massive, massive time sink and grind to get up to that level of the leaderboards. It's just simply a matter of time, right? Time and numbers. It's not physically possible for somebody of his responsibility to be doing that, to be putting those numbers in. But his account technically is in, the top of the leaderboard. He obviously admits the fact that he isn't the one playing the account for the overwhelming majority of the game time. More on this later because he does actually admit to this. One question that has to be answered, though, is why has he not been banned? It's a really simple answer to that one, and it's because of publicity. If you remember back to this part of the clip,
they actually listed me with my actual name in the list.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
This to me indicates not only does Blizzard know that it's Elon, but actively wanted to advertise it's him. Because why not? Letting everyone know that the richest and one of the most talked about figures on the planet plays your video game is good marketing, right? But in knowing that this is Elon and this is his account, they also would know that he is literally cheating. Cheating, you ask? Well, let's look at some other clips, shall we? This is Elon Musk allegedly clearing what's referred to as Pit T150 in Diablo 4 with a record time of under 2 minutes, which would make Elon one of the best Diablo 4 players on the planet, full stop, period. Some people just straight up believe this is the case, which I can understand, to an extent, if you are unfamiliar with the game or games in general. I can understand that there's people out there that think just because Elon's rich and has been around for a bunch of success, maybe he can also just be a god gamer on top of that. But from my perspective, as someone who knows what that level of gameplay requires, I'll say there's very close to 0% chance that Elon is playing during this clip and getting a world record of any kind in any game. But even if it is him, it's irrelevant largely, and you'll understand why in a few minutes. But you might also be asking, who cares if Elon's good at games or not? And the simple answer is nobody. Nobody cares. What people do care about is being lied to, and the hilarious out-of-touch nature of making claims like Elon does, which are designed to get him some kind of kudos with people who he clearly wishes would like or accept him, which is ironic because he's managed to go down the only path that would result in that crowd outright rejecting and ridiculing him, instead of the very easy path of truth and honesty and humility. That being said, if you believe Elon is playing the character in the clip I'm showing you, let's move on to his Path of Exile gameplay and the drama that kicked off all of this in the first place.
His loot filter is like, not, he's just running past Chaos Orbs! He just ran past the Chaos Orb! Dude, you are not this far in the game and you're running past Chaos Orbs! What's he gonna do? Oh, he's still clicking. Dude, what is he doing? Okay, he clearly has no idea what he's talking about, right? Like he clearly...
Amulet level 61.
Bro, what? Bro, if he says this ring is bad, bro, I swear to God, bro.
Ring is only level 48. We got it to the top 100. And then...
No, you did it, Elon!
I made a mistake and he died.
Stop lying! How could you do this to me?
Now, I'm not going to get super granular and go point by point of how Elon managed to out himself as a liar during the broadcast of him playing the game, because it has been done to death, especially since people like Quinn, who you've just seen in those clips, has done a much more entertaining breakdown for you to watch, which I do suggest you go and do. But I'm going to draw your mind back to the Diablo 4 gameplay. In that footage, the person playing that character was incredibly competent at the game. They knew what to do, they knew when to do it, and they executed it to the required level to achieve what is an unattainable accomplishment for the majority of Diablo 4 gamers, meaning millions of people. Elon, while streaming Path of Exile 2, struggled to perform even basic actions that you learn within the first couple hours of playing the game. To an uninformed person, you know, somebody who Elon might be trying to, you know, draw in by showing and talking about these things, that doesn't know anything about video games, you might say, well, maybe that's because he's much better or spent way longer playing Diablo 4. And to that, I'll say, Elon's character in Path of Exile, which is what we're talking about, the game I'm showing you now, to be as highly ranked as it is on the ladder, on the leaderboard for hardcore Path of Exile, would require hundreds, probably close to 400 hours of gameplay within the, you know, month and a half that the game's been out, just to get to where he is. And that would be while having an incredibly high level of efficiency and skill. So there is, again, a 0% chance he did any of it, because just raw numbers wise, he couldn't. And seeing him play one game from the other goes to show that, I mean, if you even find clips of him playing Diablo 4 when he's on the camera streaming, you can tell that the footage of him playing the game, you know, him playing the game on the world record it's not the same person. But if you look at it like this is strike 2 for believability of his story. Strike 1 is the sheer level of hours required to grind to the level of gear and progress required in Diablo 4 to reach that power and to climb to that stage of the leaderboards. He simply doesn't have that time. Most people don't. If you have a family, if you have a job, even if you're just a regular guy, you probably don't have the hours to put into a game to get there. That's a limiting factor on many games that are considered grindy. So it's a matter of numbers, and the numbers don't add up. Strike 2 is the visible difference in competence from piloting the Diablo 4 character in that clip, from both his own streamed with camera Diablo 4 gameplay and the Path of Exile gameplay as well. But the smoking gun, with, you know, Strike 3, we have that as well. It's some guy from Twitter by the name of Nico Rex, who I will link in the video description, that decided to interview Elon. And Elon decided he was going to accept this interview. He just straight up admits to cheating. Like, not a care in the world, just right to the point, yes, I cheat.
So to answer the burning question, does Elon Musk RMT, does he have someone pilot his account? Absolutely he does. And he openly admits to it.
And there we go. Case closed, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
This is just straight up Elon admitting, as you can see in the text in the interview, he buys services and goods in games. Quote, "It's impossible to beat the players in Asia if you don't, as they do. referring to a direct question that asks if he boosts or pays for gear and resources in D4 and Path of Exile 2, just admitting to breaking the terms of service of both games, and they're justifying it with the cope that other players must be cheating, so he should cheat too, so he can beat them. Which, by the way, normal people would get banned for this, so should he, right? But in doing so, he admits he's not beating anybody because he has zero evidence that the other people are cheating. Instead, he's just doing, I mean, it's exactly what someone from his walk of life would do anyway. Big boy billionaire throwing his money around to get exactly what he wants at the expense of everybody else, pushing them out of the way with complete disregard and justifying it any way he sees fit because he can. He's Elon Musk. And again, the reason why he won't be banned in probably both games is because these developers know that he was cheating anyway. Before he admitted to it, they have the records of people logging onto his account and buying things, and normal people would get banned for this. But for Elon, it's going to be different because whether he breaks the terms of service or not is probably irrelevant to the amount of PR he brings to the games. For the record, it's good PR to have him talking about and playing the games, and it's bad PR to ban him because that would be the talk of the town. With Crayon Eaters claiming it was because of Elon's political involvement or alignment with one side of the political aisle, and the company was clearly taking the other side and just don't like him because of who he is. Instead of the very simple explanation, cheater cheats, admits to cheating, gets banned for cheating. So I'm not going to recommend you go watch the video in question of the guy interviewing Elon, because honestly, there's only one thing more pathetic than the world's richest man being a colossal narcissist who lies about every single minor aspect of his life to try and score brownie points with unwashed nerds, and that's the Elon Musk sword-swallowing throat patrol that is his fan base. Why does the world's richest man have a fan base, you ask? I've no idea, but it seems obvious to me that Elon is an incredibly insecure and vain individual who is deserving of no adoration at all, with people still praising and defending him due to, from what I can tell, mostly ideological reasons about American political leanings and affiliations, which should have nothing to do with his actions and what he does or says, but, you know, it does. But that's another topic for another channel that isn't mine. One point I'm going to make, because it's relevant to this whole lying topic, and that we really need to address before moving on to debunk Elon's many other gaming lies that are still to come, is that Elon is so angry and insecure that he's even willing to sell his own apparent guiding principles down the river in a moment of pure piss-weak, soylent drinking baby rage. I'm, of course, talking about the Asmongold situation. Asmongold is one of the most popular streamers on the planet. He mostly reacts to content now and, you know, reacting to Elon lying about being a high-ranking Path of Exile 2 player is totally in his wheelhouse. So he did. Elon saw this and decided the best course of action is to pick up all of his toys, throw them out the pram, and show the world that he had, in fact, shit himself in his fit of rage. He leaked screenshots between him and Asmongold having a conversation, thinking that this was somehow a gotcha moment, and that he was about to expose Asmongold to the world, when all he actually did was expose his own lack of critical thinking. The screenshot in question is Elon not understanding what a video editor is on YouTube. Now, I actually wanted to give Elon the benefit of the doubt on this one, because to an older guy like him from, you know, a legacy background, a traditional world background, it would be very easy to see the word editor and think of like a newsroom or, you know, a newspaper or something and think, oh, this is the person who decides what exactly is written, how the story goes out, things like that, what's going to make it to print. But it's not. And Elon, being a, you know, really hardcore gamer and involved in this world and watches YouTube and watches Twitch streams and stuff, should know this. Especially if he's this world top-level gamer as he claims to be. If he's really hardcore doing these things, he should probably know what a YouTube video editor is. But I would have given the benefit of the doubt there on that one. But then in this interview, he doubled down and stated, quote, Asmon seemed to require permission from others to stream on X, suggesting he doesn't control his own destiny. Whether those are the editors or others, I don't know. We know, Elon. We know you don't. This is just him doubling down despite being told repeatedly what these editors are, exactly what they do, and common sense dictating that he's wrong. But obviously he's too smart and rich to admit that he's wrong, so he's just going to double down anyway. Instead, he's now making it as if Asmongold is controlled by some kind of shadowy entity that directs him to do or say whatever they want, which is fucking hilarious as a way to disagree with somebody's opinion. But I guess that's what you do when you've got no other way to cope. You're clearly a fan of this person, you watch them, they said something negative about you, so you just say they're a puppet. Likely controlled by George Soros, probably. Either way, that interview goes on to ask some of the most cringe questions I've ever seen, like totally randomly whether or not Elon would let Asmongold stream a rocket launch, but that's beside the point. It got us the confirmation we needed, but one clip you do want to see is this one.
Because Asmongold is a big free speech advocate, I am a big free speech advocate, and Elon is a big free speech advocate.
Now, this is obviously another lie, masterfully exposed by Elon himself due to his reaction to Asmongold saying the obvious. Yeah, Elon's not piloting his own account. This is a silly thing to lie about. And grinding all those hours, he's not the god gamer he claims to be. Due to saying that, Elon removed Asmongold's Twitter verification and fucked with his monetization. Which, I mean, to me doesn't really seem like the acts of somebody who's very into free speech, right? You said your opinion, now I'm going to punish you for it. Very cool, very consistent. Anyway, after Elon cleaned the shit out of his diaper, he did restore Asmon's status and he did take down his own embarrassing tweets. But that brings us to the next lie, which is this one.
I have a lifetime of playing video games. At one point I was, maybe one of the best Quake players in the world. I actually won money in what I think was the first paid esports tournament in the US. We're doing 4-person Quake tournaments, and we came second. I was the second best person on the team.
To be clear, Elon has made this claim about being, quote, one of the best Quake players in the world on at least 2 major podcasts, the Joe Rogan Experience and the Lex Friedman podcast, as well as multiple other interviews you can find very easily online. He tells this exact story every single time as if reading from a script. He was the second best player on the second best team, and they came second in the first ever esports tournament for Quake because the first best player in the team, the guy who, the only guy that was better than Elon, his computer crashed. But he did earn thousands of dollars in that tournament, and that means he's like one of the world's first pro players. But none of this exists in any of the chronicled Quake history. It's just not there. The actual first ever Quake tournament in the US was the Red Annihilation, which had 1,900 contestants whose top 16 are very easily discovered online via the Wikipedia. But just for clarity, first place was one of the most legendary names in early esports, Dennis Thresh Fong, and second place was Tom Entropy Kimsey. That being said, Elon did play Quake. He played the game. He was a known name in the scene, even according to Thresh himself, the ultimate authority on Quake in those days.
Well, actually, I mean, it was funny. Like Elon Musk, he's known as a huge gamer. We used to play in the same Quake server. Yeah. Almost every day, I'd see him on. He'd be playing as Zip2 was his username, and a really good buddy of mine. He was okay.
Hold on, Dennis. Hold on. Was Elon Musk any good?
He was okay. I mean,
you could be honest.
He wasn't very good.
So that's the best Quake player in the world, stating Elon was around, but he just wasn't very good, which means Elon was not one of the best players in the world, as he keeps repeatedly claiming, based on actual tournament documentation and testimony of the actual best players in the world. Yet again, just illustrating Elon is provably, demonstrably a liar. He took what would have been a very cool story on its own, which is the very core premise of this whole thing and the real big problem. The story of, I used to play on the same servers as people like Thresh. I knew these people. These legendary names in esports history, I was around them. I was around this time. I was around the earliest tournaments and played a ton of video games. I still do, to this very day. But instead, he chose to lie about it instead, knowing that the people who were involved as well, who he knew him, would be able to talk about this publicly and contradict his claims, proving him to be a liar. Not just a liar, but really embarrassing as well. But this is where things get somehow even sillier. Legit, it's like a fever dream. After the whole internet was calling out Musk making jokes at his expense due to the stolen valor of being an amazing ex-pro video game player, Elon's ex-wife posted on Twitter to verify his street credibility of being a god-tier gamer. Some kind of gaming prodigy all-star. This legitimately gives off hostage vibes, like there's a Kalashnikov on the other side of the table while she's writing the tweet. It basically says, yes, Elon is a very good gamer. He's such a great gamer. And Elon replied saying, thanks. So it's fucking wild, the levels of insecurity to call up your ex-wife. Oh, hello. Yeah, the internet's caught me lying again. Can you log on and tweet about how good I am at video games, please? Like, holy shit. But either way, you now have most of the facts to make a decision. What I'll say, you know, my opinion here is that when somebody is proven to lie repeatedly as a matter of habit over and over again, it's really hard to take anything they say at face value. So initially, could I have believed that Elon was playing his account in Diablo 4 during the sub 2-minute T150 record? Sure. If I didn't have 2,500 words of this script as evidence of him being caught lying over and over again on multiple occasions. Could I have believed that Elon had zero help on his accounts and he played all these games 100% himself with no piloted services or whatever? No, never, because I play these games. I know the sheer amount of hours required, and only people who play professionally, as in streamers, YouTubers, are actually the third group, people that don't have jobs or families, are able to compete at that level due to, again, purely just a numbers game of how many hours are required. Not even factoring in the amount of skill that would be required on top of that level of hours, which do kind of come hand in hand sometimes. So as soon as he admitted to buying services while misrepresenting the fact that this was the case during his claims of being, you know, top X and top Y and top Z game, that just makes it then impossible to take anything he says without overwhelming evidence to be any kind of truth. With that being said, people will always say things like, well, who cares? Which is true, because who really does care? None of this is important to anybody's life. No one should give a fuck about this. But it's a funny story, because we all know people who lie. We probably lie too about little things here and there. Maybe things we'll never be caught up in. You know, maybe we'll call it an embellishment, or say that it's totally harmless to, you know, tell a white lie, or just make a story seem a little bit less or a little bit more than what it was. Play up or play down aspects of a life that you tell to friends or family or strangers. But to lie about such mundane shit to the entire internet on video that will be recorded, that will be fact-checked, that will be scrutinized for seemingly no reason other than to massage your own vanity and sense of inflated self-importance, it's just very funny and very sad. This whole thing is not about whether Elon is a god gamer or not, because legitimately, who cares? It's about the vanity of lying about it, to try and earn good boy points with an audience who know better than you on this topic, to think that you know enough to be able to trick them, the narcissism to think that they will just believe everything you say or just won't question it because of who you are, and then to get mad when they call you out for what you know to be a lie, and then pretend as if the semantics of, oh, I didn't say I did it all myself, really make any difference to the fact you presented it as if I am this thing, when in reality you own the thing, but you paid somebody else to do all the work that makes the thing what it is. If Elon really wanted to be liked, which realistically, as far as I can tell, is all that matters to him nowadays, since being a billionaire, he has everything in life, all he needed to do was stream the games himself. Just him enjoying the simple act of what we all love, playing video games. Not to be boosted, not to lie about being the best, just to enjoy the hobby as we all enjoy it. To show he's a nerd like everyone else, just enjoying some video in his spare time. And people would say, cool, you know, I'm a nobody, but even the richest man in the world is playing games, and maybe I'm better than him. So that just goes to show different strengths and weaknesses for everybody. You know, it would be a humanizing moment for somebody who maybe doesn't seem all too human from the outside perspective because their lives are so different. But for Elon, he can't do that. He doesn't see the world in the same way we do. There is no weakness. There is only strength. He is the best at everything. He can't have people believe or see that he isn't just better than them in every conceivable way, and always has been. He's the genius. He's the savant. He's the prodigy. But as we can all see from this fiasco, he isn't. And instead of getting kudos from gamers, which was the only reason he did this, you know, to try and be more relatable, he instead will forever be a meme. And that's funny for me, but sad for him. Either way, thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.